What's going on, squad? There has been a lot of speculation as to the system mechanics, the drive system, and how the characters just playing this game. I finally got my hands on it. I guess I can say today at 2 a.m. But anyway, the first thing I wanted to do is make sure everyone knew exactly what was going on with the drive system. And since they gave us this real-time frame data inside the training tool, inside the battle lounge, I can actually give you guys that. So let's get into it. How strong things are, how to beat certain things, and how I think the meta is going to evolve around these mechanics, because they are a lot stronger than you might think. So to kick things off, we're going to talk about drive impact. And so how you do that is you press both heavy punches at the same time, and as you can see down there at the bottom, it's actually not as quick, or I guess as slow as some people might think. I've heard people say it's too quick, it's too fast. It's exactly 26 frames of startup, and it doesn't matter if you're Ryu or Ken or Luke, it does not matter. It's 26 frames regardless. So what happens when this move makes contact? First off, you target their drive gauge. You lose one drive gauge, and then you target their drive gauge. Let's go ahead and turn that off. There we go. That's the first thing. The second thing is if you actually do it while they're near a wall, and it goes pretty damn far on hit, you get a crumple state here. You see how far that went? See how you could barely, you probably thought I wasn't gonna hit it there, but these things go pretty far. I didn't get it that time, but you see how close I was to the corner, right? So if you're close to the wall, obviously you create a wall splat state, and wall splat states you can combo from. And you can also do normals into special moves as well. So it's pretty strong in the corner, as we all have probably seen. Furthermore, if you knock them, you can also knock people down in neutral as well. And you do get a little bit of Oki, and we'll talk about how to get more Oki a little bit later. But yeah, that is drive impact. So let's talk about the different effects on hit. We'll get into on block here in a minute. So if you didn't already know, there's two kinds of counter hit states in this game. There's the basic counter hit. You know, if you hit someone in the startup or their active frames, you will get what's called a counter hit, and you'll get a two additional two additional frames of stun, right? So our jab here is normally +4 on hit. Now it's +6 on hit. And our drive impact, it gives us a little bit more damage, is all you really need to know. It doesn't really change too much in terms of frame advantage or comboable state. It'll still have pretty much the same stuff going on. Now, punish counter is when we hit someone specifically in their recovery frame. Let's see if I can set that up for us here. All right, so we're gonna set Ken here to kinda, yeah, let's set Ken here to do like so. He's gonna do like that, right? And I hit him in his recovery frame. So let's do that again, but with drive impact. And you see now we get a crumple state. Ooh, I'm fucking trolling. There we go. Now we get a crumple state, which is really good. Ooh, a little bit of a foreshadow there. But anyway, this state's really good because just like when we're at the wall, we get a normal into a special move. So basically the world's our oyster at that point. So yeah, that's drive impact, right? Let's talk about the final state that you will be using it in, or the final condition, or the other condition you'll be getting it in, is on block. So on block, it actually doesn't reset neutral like we thought. It's actually -3 for the offender, the person who initiated it. So, you know, it's still pretty good. It's safe, of course, but it's definitely not your turn. So I guess if Ken here would have pressed crouch medium kick and I press crouch medium kick, I would actually get counter hit. So it's not the kind of thing where you do this and you're like, you may feel really good to land, but it's not necessarily your turn. So yeah, that's all the different effects of it. And I guess I should go ahead and mention too, if I wasn't already clear, you can also get wall splat if they block it as well. So of course, we've already seen this, so move on away from that. So what other situations can we use it in, right? So we can use it in neutral. You can also use it from anything that's special cancelable, which is really, really nice because, you know, one is inclined to believe that this is going to be drive impact, the video game. And even though drive impact is on the reactable side, 26 frames of startup, it is a little bit on the, you know, it's kind of in that iffy spot, right? 24 frames of startup where things get definitely reactable, but if you're not looking out for them, you can still get snuck. So we're going to set Ken here to actually do his drive impact whenever he yeah, we'll have him do it on wake up. How about that? Fun fact, sweeps actually give you hard knockdowns, throws do not. Let's get this man to stop blocking. So now when he gets up, ooh, wait. Oh, we didn't turn it on. There we go. So now when he gets up, he's gonna do his drive impact, and I'm gonna do a meaty button, right? I got fucked there, right? I was in my recovery frames, that makes sense, right? But now, since that move is also special cancelable, and I'm looking for that startup, he's donezo, right? And we know when we're looking at a particular context, we can react to things a lot better. So A lot of people think this is going to be drive impacted video game. That is not the case. It is frame 1 though. You do get that armor instantaneously, and this is reflected here in the purple down there in the real-time frame data. So you do get that armor instantly. Eats up to 3 hits. It's pretty damn good, but again, it will naturally lose to grab. You'll get a big punish counter, right? It will also lose to the other person drive impacting you, and a little bit of a technicality here, right? If you didn't already know, super arts are invincible, and let's go ahead and prove it. See that white space there? That means invincibility, right? So now he's going to do this, but I'm invincible, so it doesn't matter. And similarly, with your overdrives, you get iframes, right? So we were able to make him whiff there, and if I do it a little bit later, I can actually attack him. I'll still be invincible, but I'll be able to attack him after his armor has left. So there's a little bit of counterplay. So let's get into how do you actually beat arm drive, right? So outside of those options I just showed you, there's one other option that we didn't talk about. Now kind of transition us into the next topic here. You can also drive parry it. So let's talk drive parry. This mechanic is not what it looks like. There's a lot of speculation around this move, and it's kind of weird, but it's very, very good. Okay, so let's start with the perfect parry, because that's pretty straightforward. So if we were to knock Ken down and he got up and he perfect parried and we meated perfectly, he would always be able to get the perfect parry pretty easily, and we'd be screwed, right? So now, you know, our meaty game is not nearly as strong as in previous Street Fighters, because that's 1 frame startup, and no matter what button I press on wake up here, let me time this properly. Even if I do a light, I'm -9, right? And as you can see, jabs are 4 frames, mediums are 6 frames. So I'm getting killed basically. And he gets a very big confirm window. We see the time slowing effect. I am going to die, right? So perfect parry is pretty straightforward. If you get it, the parry within a 2, I believe in my testing, it could be 3 frame, but as long as you basically have the parry going active, 2 frames before a move, 1 to 2 frames before a move makes contact, you will get the perfect parry. So there you go. That one's pretty straightforward. Doing it on wake up is really easy. Obviously trying to do it in between frame traps is a whole different game entirely, right? But it is frame 1 is the point. A lot of people are like, I'm not sure if it's frame 1. It's frame 1. Now here's where things get a little weird. All right, so whenever we don't perfect parry, then what happens? So before we get to the wake up again, let's talk about this. It's definitely not safe, right? -7. So a lot of you may be thinking, all right, well, if you parry that, it won't be -7. It'll be something lesser. It'll probably be like more negative, and you can just do a heavy and kill him, right? Here's the thing. Wait. Oh, I need to set it up again? Okay. Okay. So look at this. Still -7. Perfect parry, of course, he's a lot more negative. So a lot of people think that if you were to time your parry perfectly and leave it instantly after you parried a move successfully, you would actually be able to punish immediately. That's not the case. You still receive the same amount of block stun, and we'll actually see that down there in the little viewer. So watch, see that yellow? That represents block stun. And let's go ahead and block a little bit here, and you'll see the same thing. I still receive the 20 frames of stun. See? So the reason that you would want to parry is, 1, you don't take any guard damage. Your guard gauge will go down when you block stuff, and you don't want to lose any health, right? You want to protect your resources. So that's one big advantage to parrying over just blocking normally. You don't actually get a big punish unless you perfect parry. I did not know this initially, and it really makes you start to understand that parry isn't busted just because it's frame 1. Okay. Furthermore, another few things we need to talk about. If you hold it, you actually use up drive gauge, so you can't just sit there. And if you take a look down there at the frame data, you even if you do it in neutral raw and you let go instantly, yes, the parry is instantaneous, but you need 29 frames to recover. And just because you hold it for longer doesn't mean you don't have to wait those 29 frames. It's 29 frames regardless. Okay, so yeah, basically the bigger the move is, the more punish you'll get with the perfect parry. So this is something to really defend yourself. It's not something to just like start stealing turns that don't exist. That's not how it works. The on block is still going to be the on block. You're just basically doing a better version of a block. And yes, it does protect you from left-right mix-ups as well. Let's go ahead and show that. We're gonna have Ken over here. Boom, bam, bop. Right, boom. Now we're gonna have him a little bit. There you go. I got mixed there. I didn't even know what side I was going to be on. And there you go. So it'll protect you from mix-ups. And like I said before, it is pretty good on wake up. However, just like drive impact, it still loses to grab. So now we have two completely, you know, separate systems here. And they both lose to grab. Grab's looking really good. What do we do about grab? We'll figure that out later. If you do get grabbed out of either one of these options, impact or parry, you will be punish countered. They will get a hard knockdown, and it will do significant amounts of damage. I'm sure a lot of people are going to lose a lot of rounds because they're going to do this on wake up and then get grabbed and they're going to lose all their fucking health. Grab's looking so good. Let's keep going. So let's talk about drive reversals. This mechanic is very straightforward. Very, very straightforward. And it's very well done. So let's have Ken do, I don't know. Oh, nice. I didn't know he could do that. Okay, cool. Right? So let's say I'm in some pressure here. Let's say I'm near the wall. Right? I want to press forward and heavy. Both heavy punches here. And I'll get this. Now, the cool thing about that, right? Not only will you get them off of you. Cost two bars, by the way. Not only when you get them off of you. There we go. Right? Not only when you get them off of you, you also will eliminate the possibility if you're in a bad spot. Oh, wait. I'm doing it like a Street Fighter 5. You will also eliminate the possibility of actually being drive impacted. This is actually huge. You can also drive parry in this situation too, by the way. But anywho, drive reversal is really, really good. So similar to drive impact, or I guess anytime you use an invincible attack, the only thing that's going to beat something that's invincible is something that's slightly more invincible, or something that's invincible for a longer duration, or initiate it at a later point in time. Let me just show you. It's a little nitty gritty, but I do want to make sure you guys have everything you need going forward. So let's set him to block, and now he's going to do drive reversal instantaneously, right? And just to make sure you guys know it's invincible, you'll see the little gray little thing. So, you know, it's not like Street Fighter 5 where you can grab it. You can't hit him out of it. You can't be doing all that. You just literally have to respect it, unless you somehow wait out before the attack hits you. You also become invincible. So watch this. Wait. There we go. And we'll see that transaction there. Freeze frame it for you guys so you can see. So I was invincible. I was still able to special cancel, so I became invincible as his move was trying to hit me, and then boom, I went kind of straight through it, per se. You know, you have to really time it. You can't just do it, but that's really, really strong. Furthermore, I guess, using that same line of reasoning, right, you can also use a super here to call them out as well. So as long as you get some iframes against these invincible options like drive impact, drive reversal, you're actually good to go, right? And speaking of invincible options, right, you can also, you didn't already know, you can also be parrying, and you can drive reverse out of that too. So if you're in a very scary Oki situation and you want to use the parry here to just try and get out of some pressure, but you can't, as you know, you're not going to have time to attack. You don't have enough time to release that parry, because remember, we still receive that block stone. Drive impact, you're out. Really, really strong. And so now they have to read that after you did the parry too. So the mind games are actually insane already. What beats what? I don't know. It's kind of crazy. Everything kind of beats everything. So let's just tone things down a bit. Let's just talk about overdrive. So overdrives are just EX versions of your moves, right? Coming from older Street Fighter games, EX means you're going to use your meter here to do an advanced version. So fun fact, every DP in the game actually has some form of anti-air invincibility. However, if you want full invincibility, as you'll see here with the real-time frame data, you do have to overdrive it. Overdrive costs 2 bars, and this is not universal. In that, I mean, even just because I do EX Fireball doesn't mean I get invincibility. So overdrives are pretty much just amplified versions of your special moves. They're really, really cool. You can get some pretty wacky stuff, and they let you do some pretty cool stuff just from these alone. Like if you just wanted to play the game just using overdrive combos, like you're good to go, right? Because that's separate from your critical art gauge. So you're not really like reducing how much damage you could do in the future, which is really, really strong. Definitely use that fact. Now let's talk about drive rush. This is the mechanic. This mechanic became much more interesting the more I use it. So first off, It's really cool in that, let's take my jab for example, right? It's +4 normally. If I jab it, if I drive rush into the jab, because of this slowdown effect, I get 4 more additional frames of hit stun. This also is applied on block. +1 on block. Oops. +1 on block. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. +1 on block. Wait, no, -1 on block. +3 on block, right? Overhead, -3 on block, +1 on block. So now overheads are like actually ridiculous. And naturally, that's why we're able to see things like this, right? Everyone was like losing their mind over being able to link into a light is extremely easy because now this is +4. Bam, now you're ready to go. Super, super good. So anytime you use drive rush, you are going to get those 4 extra frames of hit stun on block, on hit, does not matter, right? And of course, you can do any move that's special cancelable, you can do this with as well, right? So now you get access to things that normally wouldn't work. So not only can you do the same move into the same move, that second move you do after the drive rush gets additional hit stun, so you can start to do things you're not normally allowed to do. So let's go ahead and see if we can figure something out, right? So this is normally +4. Now I'm going to make it +8. Do I have an 8 frame button? There we go. So now normally I wouldn't be able to do this into this, right? Wait. There we go. Now we got a 3 frame or 3 hit combo. Really, really cool. Really, really cool. Naturally as well too, because we can just create additional stun, I guess, because you want to call this like a slowdown effect. You'll see the yellow down there for Ken, he can't actually act yet. So if I just do this by itself, right, he's able to, since my blue is still going and his yellow's right there, it ends sooner, he's able to act before me, and that's why he can recover faster. We see that, all the numbers, it's pretty straightforward. But if we're able to cancel that block stun, we can basically create gapless pressure that normally wouldn't exist. So you can kind of, if you want to just carry someone to the wall with this mechanic for whatever reason, you're allowed to do that. Very, very good. Right, so again, we can do like, wait, we would do something like, is that gapless? Let's see. I think that's right. Yeah, that's got to be gapless. So again, if you really want to just get in people's head, you can use this to kind of create gapless pressure, and they're looking for a frame trap and they're just starting to panic press. It's really, really good. Again, all these drive rush, all these drive systems just really enhance the amount of mind games. You're making decisions at such a fast rate. Anyway, so you may be thinking, okay, what else can we do with drive rush, right? So we can do it out of neutral from drive parry. In this way, it costs significantly less. We need half to initiate the parry and another bar to actually do a full bar here. Yep, a full bar to actually initiate and go in with this, right? This means in neutral, because it goes so freaking far, you can't block or anything, but you can almost just kind of like not give a fuck about neutral. It creates this very interesting RPS in the mid-range that didn't normally exist. So like, here are some disgusting things I've been doing. Run up low, run up overhead, and y'all already know I'm kind of nasty. Run up grab, really, really good. Now, if you're real nice, drive rush, drive parry, they let you do any action you want. I wonder if we can parry out of it. We cannot parry out of it. Another thing you can't do is jump out of it. So if your opponent sees you coming in like this and they don't want to guess high, low, or whatever, high, low throw, they can just jump. Of course, you can follow naturally with your anti-airs, but yeah, drive rush is pretty goddamn good. All right, so what's going on, everybody? Editor Kai here from the future. Turns out you can actually go immediately into drive rush if you dash from it. Let me get out the way so you guys can actually see. Watch this. Right, so I'm actually activating the parry, the drive parry into the drive rush about 2 to 3 frames after I begin the dash. This is way faster than just pressing and then doing like this, right? At minimum, if you do it this manual way, I guess we could call it, like I got to 4 there, right? But if you dash into it, you alleviate a lot of the mechanical burden, and you'll probably get the fastest, this is probably the fastest way to do it. So yeah, little tidbit there. Back to the video. Pretty damn good. So the last thing I want to talk about is that you can actually create combo states that are not normal in the game. Let me explain. Let me explain. So if I hit him with this Dinjin version of my Hashogeki, right? I get this, what we're gonna call a juggle state, right? And this is pretty good. Juggle states are pretty good because your special moves are like, you can actually hit them here. You can say they're arrow K. Right? I can hit him with a special move. That's pretty good. Can I Hadouken here? One thing I cannot do though is hit him with the normal. Pretty weird, or pretty interesting, right? That's fine, right? Because then, I mean, I could still do like I'm chilling. That's pretty good, right? Until I use Drive Rush. Watch this. So now, if I use Drive Rush, I've unlocked the ability to basically land normals on a juggle, on an airborne opponent, or a juggle, someone who is in a juggle state. Don't know how I want to go about the technical terms of that. We'll figure that out later. But basically, this means we get all the properties we had here off of the wall stun, where we can do a normal insta special. So now, anything that knocks people airborne specifically, and we can expand on this obviously. We're able to do a lot more. So I can add a little bit more damage, right? And depending on the character, you can get really, really wild with this. So for example, a little bit better. There we go, right? So we expanded on the combo a little bit more. It just gets really, really nutty, really, really fast. And the reason we're allowed to do that is not only does it unlock the ability for normals to have that effect where we can just, they're arrow K now or juggle okay. You can also, you actually slow down time. So without that slowdown, you actually wouldn't even have enough time to get in position for that kind of thing. You basically restricted to whatever you could do at this range here when your move recovered. That would be what you were restricted to. But now, we can kind of do whatever we want. A little bit of a freestyle. I'm gonna see if I can Tatsu. Yeah, that's really neat, right? No telling what we can do in the corner. But yeah, that's Drive Rush. You get the 4 additional block stun, frames of hit stun, block stun. Everything pretty much becomes a combo tool. Like moves that launch are just like now ridiculoso. And again, this is only gonna cost me 1 bar, like roughly 1 bar, just to pull this mechanic off of a confirmable hit. It's really, really nice. Okay. So that's every single drive mechanic, but we're not done talking about the drive system. There's one thing we've missed, and it's Burnout. So what happens when you go too ham, because all these options are super cool, and you're like, fuck, what do I do? So when you're in Burnout, you receive additional block stun. So let's take a look here. Remember that jab that was -1 before? Now it's +3. This is really, really good. Additionally, right, your character moves kind of slower. Your startup on your moves is roughly the same, and the Oki, or the amount of frame advantage on knockdown, is the same as well. It doesn't matter. The only thing it really affects is block stun, and the fact that you can actually now get stunned, which is really kind of clean. So this is kind of cracked. Get him in the corner, and you get like this super huge stun, and you do a ton of fucking damage. And once you do that little combo there, after the stun, they get all that meter back. So you gotta have a plan if they're not gonna die. You gotta be super, super careful. Some people were saying things like it gives you free counter hits. That is not the case. You just basically play the game normally. Your character will do, they'll move like they're tired, they'll block like they're tired, but ultimately it comes down to the additional block stun, right? And it also comes down to that stun. That's actually allowed to happen now. Additionally, drive impact also now it's plus on block, because again we get that 4 additional frames of block stun. Anyway, so you may be wondering like what beats what, this beats who. That's kind of the thing. There is no clear-cut answer. You could argue that drive impact is the strongest of all the different mechanics. You can create a comboable state on punish counter, and it's relatively safe on block. Why wouldn't you do it, right? Because you take away some of their drive gauge too. It kind of depends on what you're shooting for. So remember, when you do this move, you are basically telling you and your opponent that we're going to play the game with significantly less drive gauge if you start spamming it, right? So look, 1 time, 2 time, right? If my meter wasn't refilling, there we go, right? Look how dangerous a game this becomes. Even though technically you could argue neutral's been reset. Is he blocking this? I have a feeling he's not blocking this. Yeah, there we go. Let's try that again. So 1, too, right? So you're playing with less meter, less drive gauge, and they're playing with less drive gauge. You do get the positional advantage if they just keep blocking it, but you see the issue here, right? With tools like drive parry, drive reversal, and grab, and you know, everyone being able to have access to iframes both through overdrives and supers, drive impact is not actually as busted as one might think, but because it sits right there at 26 frames of startup, where that's on the edge of reactable and unreactable, it's kind of a psychological thing. If your opponent's scared, they're not going to react nearly as well as if they're concentrated and actually looking for it. So, you know, you may be like, okay, well then drive parry is really good. Well, you know, drive parry is kind of good. It will save you from chip damage and stuff, and you can drive rush from it. That's really, really nice, but you're not invincible during this drive rush. You can be hit that entire time, and you can't block out of it. See how long it takes me to block? 23 frames there. So it's kind of weird. Everything has a strength and everything has a weakness. And you may be like, okay, well, what's the best thing to do on wake up, right? Well, there's still no clear-cut answer to that either, right? Because you could argue if you try to drive parry or drive impact, you'll just get grab looped, right? And you'll get punish countered every single time. So you can't afford to just keep doing this. This is silly. This is just silly. And you can't hold it forever either. So your opponent, 29 frames of startup on recovering here, right? So I can very easily wait it out and then go for the big punish, right? Let me see if I can actually react to this. Yeah, I can react to that 100%. So there you go. Nothing really has like the end all be all. It's kind of weird, but that is everything you know about the drive system. So if you guys want to see more of these breakdowns, I have more as the beta goes on. We're going to get more into the combo system and how characters play as we go forward. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. And of course, when the game drops, I'm going super ham. If you guys are coming from Guilty Gear, let the people know in the comments that I have the most cracked guides out there. Let's just be honest, and they're only getting better. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.